Ice Maidens.
Hello and welcome to ZPG Ice Maidens, the only dedicated Women's National Ice Hockey League podcast, part of the ZPG network of UK ice hockey podcasts. We are in partnership with Hockey Art Co., hockey clothing for hockey people, worn by the best and hated by the rest. Listeners to the ZPG network get a 10% discount on everything site-wide at hockeyartclothing.co.uk. Just enter the code ZP10 upon checkout to get your discount. We are also part of the Sport Social Podcast Network, the biggest sports podcast network in Europe, boasting over 450 podcasts from more than 15 different sports. So welcome to what is a brand new podcast then. As most of you already know, I am Adam Mackman, and no doubt you have heard my voice commentating on games from around the WNIHL over the past 3 seasons. Ice Maidens is proud to team up with a great hockey brand in Zero Pucks Given, and along with continued support from Her Game 2, we hope to continue raising the profile of women's hockey in this country. Okay, without further delay, let's get to it. And the news this week, starting with the playoffs. They say a week is a long time in politics, but in ice hockey, it can feel like an eternity. When the English Ice Hockey announced the playoff format for the end of this month, it wasn't exactly greeted with positivity. In fact, the players were understandably upset at having to play games on a weekday, with the added complication of having to take multiple days off work to accommodate it, and things like that, for example. Kingston Diamonds were first to react with an excellently worded open letter, which they published last week, outlining their concerns whilst requesting the sport's governing body to look into reconsidering the schedule. The following day, Streatham Storm followed suit, posting their own letter, very much echoing the same sentiments, shortly followed by a third from Solihull Vixens. All 3 sides were in agreement, particularly with the wording of one of the rules. In accordance with the rules of the competition, number 7.9.4, fixtures, as far as possible, will be scheduled on a Saturday or Sunday during the specified season. Teams will not be asked to play midweek games unless by agreement of both teams and the venue concerned. The EIH responded and announced the schedule had been reviewed with a shortened programme on the Friday evening and all 4 finals to be played on the Sunday afternoon. The EIH also announced a commitment to collaborating closely with WNIHL clubs in the future, with a priority on growing the sport. Actions, as they say, speak louder than words. For a start, why were we in this situation in the first place? The WNIHL finals weekend is traditionally on the bank holiday weekend, where such issues such as time off work is reduced. However, with the boys' showcase event losing their own early bank holiday weekend ice slot, they were allowed to take the women's at the end of May, therefore pushing the finals weekend back a week, creating this issue in the first place. If the EIH are serious about their commitment to women's hockey, then this is something that needs addressing immediately. It's easy to say they are committed to growing the sport, but when such gulfs in equality are so blatantly obvious, it's hard to believe. Attention will now switch to the finals weekend, which is the marquee event of the women's hockey calendar. A huge amount of thanks should go to event organiser Faye Andrews for her continued hard work in pushing for better conditions for the players, teams and the Women's League. GB under-16s have been involved in the Evolve Cup in the Netherlands last weekend. They faced teams from the host nation as well as ones from Sweden and the Czech Republic. GB finished in an impressive 3rd place after winning 2 of their 4 matches during the round-robin stage, and that saw them secure a place directly into the semi-finals. They were fantastic in that semi-final against the Through Generation 2 team, but were eventually beaten 4-3 after overtime. Sophie Rose-Davis, Mia Forbes and captain Melly Fulborn all scoring. After losing their first group game, GB beat DL Hockey 3-0 thanks to goals from Whitley Bay's Evie May Tyndale, Sophie Rose-Davis and Mia Forbes of Kingston. The following day saw a heavy 7-2 defeat to Through Generation 1, where Rebecca Woslinski netted both goals, while the final game saw Woslinski net again, along with Miller Peroni and May Sullivan, to clinch a 3-1 win over Team Evolve. Congratulations go to Ida Oxenen, who was named Great Britain's MVP of the tournament. The Whitley Bay Beacons put in arguably their most complete performance of a season to claim a 4-1 win in Hull on Sunday. With Stretham's Point away to Queen Bees the night before, this victory over a tough Kingston Diamond side couldn't have come at a better time. Megan Craig made her first starting goal for 8 weeks as she recovered from a foot injury and put in a performance as though she had never been away. During her absence, both Sam Bolwell and Lucy Gruber have been fantastic between the pipes, but Megan laid down a marker to remind everyone just how strong her goaltending has been throughout the season, with 41 saves and a 96% save percentage. Beacons kept the top line together of captain Abby Coulshaw, player coach Steph Towns and Louise Adams, with Becky Kastner-Wood having Danielle Turnbull and Ruby Newlands alongside her. Claire Turnbull lined up with Emily Luck and Maya Lowe. Casey Trail was on the top defensive pairing with Rachel Stockdale, while Vicky Smith was alongside Caitlin Stocks. Kingston started the game with Danny Newlove at centre on the top line between Katie Marsden and Kiana Tate. However, after a couple of shifts, Jazz Little was moved into that position. The second line saw Lydia Lutwich alongside Clara Ashton and Ketsia Robinson, while Grace Cooper and Ishbel Wright ended up alongside Danny Newlove on the third line. Beth Scoom was one of 5 defenders used by the home side, with Helen Emerson, Gemma Wallace, B. Lester and Olivia Turner the others. Georgia Ashton started in goal with Emily Johnson as backup. The opening period saw Megan Craig the busier of the 2 goalies, as the Beacons were outshot 19-8. Any chances the visitors did create were met by a strong defensive response by the Diamonds, with Helen Emerson and Beth Scoon in particular breaking up the play and clearing the zone. The second period saw a much more determined display from the Beacons, as they were soon ahead a couple of minutes in. Following an offensive zone face-off and some sustained pressure, Louise Adams swept the puck over to Abby Coulshaw, who was waiting patiently in the slot to fire her side into the lead. The Beacons doubled their lead with a little over 4 minutes remaining in the second period, Steph Towns finishing a move she started. Having carried the puck into the offensive zone, Helen Emerson forced the Beacons player coach out wide towards the left wing boards. However, having picked out Louise Adams, who proceeded towards goal and wound up a booming shot, the puck came back off Georgia Ashton's chest for Towns to put home the rebound. The Diamonds have made an art form out of their third period performances this season, and a 2-goal lead was never enough to count the home side out. Lydia Lutwich was brave when blocking a Casey Trail shot just inches away from her, taking the full force of a slap shot on an already injured foot. Thankfully, she was able to continue, although she did have some bruising as she left the rink after the game. Diamonds cut the arrears 6 minutes into the final period when Kiana Tate carried the puck up the ice before sending a perfect pass out wide to Katie Marsden. The GB International went behind the net before setting up Beth Scoon, who had found space some distance from the net. The Scottish defender wound up a huge shot which went through traffic and picked out the top corner of the net, with Megan Craig unable to do anything about it. Kingston were now in the ascendancy, but the game was effectively settled a couple of minutes later when the Beacons made it 3-1. Abby Coulshaw was able to dig the puck out from an intense battle in the Whitley zone before picking out Steph Towns in space on the right wing. The Beacons' all-time leading scorer advanced before winding up a huge slap shot and drilled low blocker side to ripple the net. Casey Trail put in a virtuoso performance as she stalked her good friend Katie Marsden all over the ice and never allowed her time to settle on the puck. The GB defender managed to get her stick onto her opponents to block any attempted shots at goal on several occasions. She capped her performance when converting a power play opportunity inside the final 8 minutes. With Steph Towns and Louise Adams working the puck back to her on the points, Casey wound up a huge shot from distance, which was deflected by a Diamonds defender and wrong-footed Georgia Ashton in the Kingston goal. It was a much-needed win and a 4th of the season, moving the Beacons onto 12 points. Whatever happens in the final couple of weeks, Whitley have now smashed their previous win and points totals from their last campaign in the Elite League 2 years ago. The two sides actually warmed up outside the rink before an impromptu game of football broke out between them. Only in hockey can you have two sides sharing a joke and enjoying a kick around 30 minutes before going into battle on the ice. Casey Trail scored what looked to me at least to be the winner. However, Kingston's Danny Newlove disputed that claim when saying Diamonds had won after Steph Towns had called next goal wins the first time. Either way, it was great to see both sides enjoying themselves and is one of many reasons that makes women's hockey so awesome. After the game, I spoke with Beacon's goalie Megan Craig as well as Diamonds forward Katie Marsden. Welcome to Ice Maidens, where today we are catching up with Beacon's goalie Megan Craig. First of all, Megan, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Well, a great 4-1 win for the team. What was your thoughts on the game?
I thought it was a really good game. Defence, forward worked well together. You know, everybody kind of came forward to the team, came in with a goal, and we definitely walked away with that. So I'm really happy with the performance.
Yeah, now you've been out for, 8 or 9 weeks. So
yeah.
How was it for you coming back?
I was definitely a few nerves before the game, kind of worried. You know, I hadn't trained before we played, so I didn't know how I was going to hold up. But no, I felt good. It was a good performance. Felt strong, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and 41 saves. I think that works out at about a 96 save percentage. So not a bad way to come back, is it?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And play of the game as well. So that must be nice as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely makes me feel a lot better coming back into the season.
Now, while you was out, I know you were tuning in, watching the streams, because I could see your name popping up. But how frustrating is it being a spectator?
Oh, it definitely is, like, seeing the way the team's playing and wanting to support them. But being stuck behind a screen, it's not great, but it's good to be back.
Yeah, and I mean, prior to the injury, you were in fantastic form as well.
Thank
so
you.
It's been a good season for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
And, well, we're heading towards playoffs. I know we're not quite going to be there at the top end, but we might have to get in a relegation battle. But we're hoping, obviously, to not need that, and another win to come, another game to come against the Diamonds, and another win would be a great way to sign off, wouldn't it?
No, absolutely, definitely keeping the momentum going from this game and previous games. Hopefully we'll get the last one and we'll manage to avoid the relegation game.
It would be nice. Now, you've been with the Beacons for 3 years now, it's your third season, so, I mean, you're enjoying it, aren't you? You love it here?
Absolutely loving it, yeah. No, it's a great team, great family, everybody gets on, so it's always good to be out on the ice with them.
And we're very lucky to have you. And aside from the Beacons, how has your other hockey been going up with Kilmarnock? Yeah,
it's good. I've not really got any games, but obviously I've been out for a while, so I've not been back on the ice. But again, it's a good team, good men, so it's very challenging. It's always fun. It's always good to have that challenge.
Yeah, and just looking ahead to that final game at home against the Diamonds, so you're pretty much the same side that we face here today. So it's always tough against them, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They always bring their A game and they always know what they want to do and they always execute it. So hopefully we can just be the better side on the day.
Well, Megan, thank you very much. And
thank you for having me.
We'll catch up with you later on in the season.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Ice Maidens, where tonight we are catching up with Diamonds forward Katie Marsden. First of all, Katie, thank you for joining me.
No worries.
So a 4-1 win for the Beacons today against your Diamonds side. So what was your thoughts on it?
I thought, although it didn't go our way today, I thought it was a really good game. I thought it was very two-way. We both had really good chances. I thought both goalies played really well. And for the most part, it was end-to-end in a really exciting game. I think scoreline doesn't reflect necessarily the game that's played, but props to the Beacons scoring 4 really good goals in the end, which pushed them over the edge. So, yeah, really good for them to get that momentum going and good for us to put in a good performance before heading off to playoffs in a few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, very close throughout. It was only 2-0 going into that final period, and that's really where Diamonds are strong, aren't they, in that final period?
Yeah, I think we're a very charismatic team in that, even if we go down, we like to keep pushing, we dig deep, and, usually we come out on top in the third. Just today wasn't our game, really.
Yeah, and Beth with that snipe to get you back to within 2-1. I mean, it's a good goal, wasn't it? And I guess you want to try and build a bit of momentum off the back of that.
Yeah, it felt like it was a long time coming. And as you said, trying to build momentum after that, it just unfortunately didn't come. But it was nice to get that one. So, we didn't feel like we'd given a lot for nothing, I guess.
Yeah, I guess Beacon's hitting back pretty soon after that.
Yeah.
Sort of stemmed that momentum, didn't it? Interesting subplot was a battle between you and Casey Trell throughout, and that was a great duel and great to watch from up in the stand. So, what was it like for yourself being in that battle?
Yeah, I think it's always great to play against teammates, people we've grown up with for so long now. So every battle against them is fun because, you can go as hard as you can and, you're going to come out smiling no matter what the result.
Yeah, and looking ahead then to the playoffs, because you're still very much in a battle with Guildford for that third spot. So still plenty to play for over the next couple of games.
Yeah, definitely. I think we want those points, we want those wins to get us into that third spot. Queen Bees, Solihull, both very tough teams. So whichever seed we go into, whichever semi-final we play, we know it's going to be a tough one. I think we have had a better track record against Solihull, so that's who potentially we're hoping to play, but we're going to go to playoffs with a mindset that we want to win, so whoever we're up against, we're going to give it absolutely everything and see how it goes. Yeah, and as you say, having beaten both sides this season, no team's going to relish facing the Diamonds in a one-off game, are they? Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we have, gained momentum as the season's gone on, and I think we've become a team that teams don't want to play against. They're not pushing us to a side and overlooking us because they know they're going to get a tough game no matter where the game is or what the game is. Well, best of luck, Katie, and see you in Sheffield. Cheers.
The battle for the Elite League title couldn't be any tighter as we head into the final 2 weeks of the regular season. Having thrashed Streatham 7-0 away last week, Queen Bees were hoping for more of the same on home ice on Saturday. However, despite Catherine Gale, Sophie Games and Ellie Wallace all finding the net, they were unable to beat the South London side and had to settle for a point from a 3-3 draw. Amy Kingsbury was named player of the game for the Queen Bees. A few miles away, Guildford Lightning were hosting second place Solihull Vixens, who welcomed back Katie Henry after she missed the last few weeks with a broken collarbone. Henry wasted little time in asserting herself on the game as she scored as part of a 4-point game. Jodie Alderson-Smith scored twice, while the third member of the Vixens top line, Laura Horwood, also found the net. The trio combining for 13 points in total. Australian-born Anna Badoui and Alicia Potts also found the net, while Kayla Poole made 26 saves. Meg Burton had 2 assists in the game, and she came away with the Player of the Game award. Ellie Shaw, who made her Elite League debut for the Lightning, netted on the power play to mark a memorable day for the Swindon-born defender. Anya Kadievich got an assist on the goal. Marley Easton was kept busy as she made 38 saves. The results leave Queen Bees top by a single point, while the Beacons are now 2 ahead of Streatham, having played a game more. The Solway Sharksbury stay in Division 1 came to an end at the weekend when they lost 3-1 in Slough to the Firebees. It was always going to be a difficult time for the Dumfries-based side as they headed for a long away trip double-header, but they put in a good performance to push their hosts all the way. Amy Kingsbury scored twice in the opening 10 minutes, her first coming after just 12 seconds when set up by the excellent Talia Davidson-Wright. Sharks did cut the arrears early into the second period when Vicky Carson scored, but Sophie Games made it safe with a little over 6 minutes to go and ensure they are now in pole position for the final playoff spot. Firebees are being tracked closely by the Chelmsford Cobras, and they took to the ice on Sunday for their matchup with the Sharks. A strong start saw the Cobras open the scoring with Jenny Bolton netting 40 minutes in. Cobras outshot the Sharks 15-7 through the first period. Keen to keep up the pressure, the Cobras capitalised on the power play 5 minutes into the second through Terezka Plankova. She would go on to grab a second 4 minutes later. Irina Nevedova and Charmaine Easton both scored in the final period to clinch what was a 5-0 win and keeps their playoff hopes alive. Swindon Topcats travelled north for their potential title-deciding clash with Kingston Diamonds with just 10 skaters. The Wiltshire side were missing several regulars and only had 3 defenders who posted 40 minutes each. Ellie Shaw, Leah Wallace and Natalia Rolder-Merck put in tireless displays as they pushed forward to join the rush, as well as defending their blue line with a level of confidence and expertise. Ellie being recognised for her efforts with the Player of the Game award. Up front, the triple threat of Ellie Wallace, Lily Endicott and Nora Egri continued their goal-scoring exploits, combining for all but one of their team's goals, while Joy Scott-Russell and Emma Comer, along with Flo and Michelle Shermer, also put in valuable contributions. Diamonds had key players missing too, and came up against a goalie in Marley Easton, who has been in outstanding form recently and proved to be near unbeatable throughout. Georgia Ashton was no less brilliant at the other end, as she tried valiantly to keep the Top Cats out with 28 saves. Lily Endicott broke the deadlock at 11:17 into the first period, before Ellie Wallace doubled the lead 5 minutes later when she was put through on goal by her sister Leah. Nora Egri then produced a moment of brilliance midway through the second period as she carried the puck into the zone with speed, cut inside, then released a fierce wrist shot as she was leaning off balance on one foot. The effort proving too strong for Georgia Ashton to stop. Ellie Wallace made it 5 minutes later when she converted on the power play. Diamonds were missing Lizzie Saunders and Mia Forbes from their top two forward lines, while outstanding young defender Jess Wooding's season has ended early after she recovers from an MCL injury. We wish Jess all the very best in her recovery, but the Hull side can still rely on Lydia Lutwich, who quite literally scores goals for fun. Having fallen behind 4-0, Lydia collected the puck from the face-off, carried into the zone and scored a great individual goal to bring her side back into the contest. However, 2 minutes later, Ellie Wallace made it 5-1 after she did well to get in behind the Diamonds' defence on a breakaway. 5 minutes into the final period, Nora Egri produced another brilliant goal with a precision finish after being left alone in the low slot. With a quick but powerful flick of her wrist, the puck was directed into the back of the net. Lily Endicott completed the scoring when she converted on a power play with 9 minutes to go. The win put Swindon back top of the standings by a point with 3 games remaining. Kingston can still overhaul them, however they only have 1 game to go at home to Nottingham this coming weekend. Bristol are the only other side who can mathematically finish above the Top Cats. They are 4 points back with 3 games to go. Swindon need 3 points to be certain of winning the league and a shot at promotion. After the game, I was able to talk with Swindon Top Cats defender and player of the game, Ellie Shaw, while also speaking with Kingston Diamonds forward, Danny Newlove. Welcome to Ice Maidens, where today we are catching up with Swindon defender Ellie Shaw. First of all, Ellie, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Nice to have me.
Well, our pleasure. Fantastic result, 7-1 win. What's your thoughts on the game?
Oh, it was very difficult, but we pushed through, so I'm very proud of all the girls. We all bonded, we all put each other up. So, yeah, as well, keeping us going throughout the game, so, yeah.
Gareth Endicott, as modest as ever. Obviously, you were one of 3 defenders, so that's always difficult when you're short at the back, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite difficult with 3. I mean, you're pretty much on the ice every second, but we worked it out, so, yeah, it was alright.
And particularly yourself and Leah, who were getting forward and joining the rush a lot, so where do you find the energy from?
Oh, it's difficult, but I think when you find a lane and you can skate, you just go. And I know I have people, like the forwards can drop back, I can always rely on them, so, yeah. Yeah, well, great performance. Obviously has a huge implication at the top of the Division 1 standings because this was kind of a title decider of sorts, wasn't it? Yeah.
So it puts you back 2 points clear, but with a game in hand.
Yeah, it was difficult. We thought it'd be a very tough game, and it was. But after a long drive, we just came here, and we wanted to win, so it's just about the mentality, really.
Yeah, obviously second time that Top Cats have played Diamonds this season, and both times you've won, so a lot of confidence going into the playoffs probably as well. Yeah,
I mean, we know our competition, so it's just about performing at nationals and, you know, just turning up.
Absolutely. Now, you made your Elite League debut last night at Guildford, so how did that go for me?
Yeah, I mean, we lost, but we knew it was going to be a tough game with, like, short bench, 2 lines. It was really good, I think. A good experience for me, so yeah. Yeah, coming up against the likes of Jodie Alderson-Smith and Katie Henry, as you said, so 2 of the best in the business, really, isn't it, for a defender? Yeah, I mean, I was kind of put in the deep end, but it was a good experience. Well, best of luck with that, and, best of luck for the rest of the season, and we'll see you in Sheffield. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you. Welcome to Ice Maidens, where today we are catching up with Diamonds
forward Danny Newlove.
Hello.
Hi Danny, thank you for joining me. Well, a tough game this one, 7-1 loss to Swindon. What was your thoughts on the game?
Well, it wasn't our best. The scoreline proves that. I think we went out there and we started off quite well and just sort of got worse and worse as the game went on. I think we had some strong moments, definitely, but we were hindered quite a lot by A, missing players, and B, we drew a lot of penalties. And obviously that's never ideal. So I think we have a lot to work on coming out of that game, but we do know where we went wrong, almost, yeah.
Yeah, obviously Lizzie Saunders is one of the players missing. She'd normally be on your line. So,
yeah.
I mean, GB International as well. So you kind of, any team would miss that quality, wouldn't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we did have the addition of Ruby, obviously, because she's playing against us later. So we were trying to tie her out a little bit. Don't tell the coaches that. But
thanks for that.
yeah, but so we did have that swap, but it would have been nice to have them both.
Yeah, and obviously Mia as well, who's out playing for GB16.
Exactly,
she's another miss, isn't she?
So a couple of GB players missing, it does make a difference, especially at Prem. They are a couple of really main players, but who's to say what would have happened if we had them? So
yeah, that's very true. Obviously, we're always going to be tough against Swindon, who are equally stacked with talent. The league's probably going to go to Swindon, you think, now?
Yeah, probably now. I'm not sure entirely what points we're all on.
They're 2 points clear, but have a game in hand.
Right, so yeah, probably will do then. I mean, it's not imperative to us anymore, as much as we would like to win the league. It's not a matter of win or our elites get demoted. Our elites are doing really well at the moment, we're in good form, so that does take a little bit of the pressure off. Obviously, we'd still like to win, but we've still got playoffs, we can always win playoffs, and I'm pretty confident we could if we all turn up.
Yeah, I was going to lead me into my next question. I mean, you could exact a bit of revenge against Swindon in a final. That would be quite a mouth-watering prospect, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd very much like to. No offence to any of Swindon. They're all brilliant players. They've got a really good, talented young team. But I think we do as well. And I think when we've got our full lineup, I think there's nobody that we couldn't beat.
I agree. I think both teams are fantastic to watch. Both regular season games obviously gone in Swindon's favour, but playoffs is a new tournament and it will start again, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Now, looking ahead to your other role with the club, you helped out with coaching on the Div 2 side. They're in action later on today. I know you're not there for that one, but I mean, how's that going? Because it's important, isn't it, for players such as yourself to be given that opportunity to coach in the women's game? Yeah,
absolutely. I find that since I've been able to help out on the bench and take on that coaching role, I've had a better understanding of what I'm doing while I'm playing. I think it's really, really important for us to help develop our lower league players. I think we've got a lot of fresh blood, so to speak, and I think it's really, really nice to see how they're developing. We had a couple of players today who started off playing under 16s in Div 2 and have progressed their way up into Premier already. And it is really great to see the development that we're bringing through, because we're the only team that has teams in every league. It's great to see and be able to track that development that we're making.
Yeah, and looking at it from the other side, I guess players can look up to yourself and get to playing for the Div 1 and the Elite League team. So it kind of, you know, you're, in some respects to the younger players, you're heroes to these girls, aren't you?
I mean, yeah, you could say that. I don't know. I don't know if I would call myself a hero, but I think it definitely does help, even just because I do play on that elite team, because I go on the bench with the under 16s as well. So because I am that elite league player, I think they do look up to me and I think they do trust me. And I can see it when I say, oh, maybe next time try this. They go out on the ice and they try their absolute best to do what I've told them. So it is really rewarding to see that development that I'm helping to create.
That's great. Finally, you've got a game coming up later on this afternoon against the Whitley Bay Beacons.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, I don't want to offend you. I don't want to start an argument, but I mean, I think we'll win. We've been in... I have to say that, but I think we've been in really good form at the moment. I know this game matters a lot for Whitley, and personally speaking, I don't want Whitley to be demoted, but I don't want us to be demoted either. And I think we would like to play Solihull in the playoffs rather than Queen Bees, so these points still are quite important.
Well, understandably so, given the track record you've had against Solihull this season. So, well, best of luck, Danny. Hope you play well in that game, and we'll catch up with you at the playoffs, I'm sure.
Perfect, thank you.
In Division 2, a hat-trick from Michelle Madziak and a brace from Letitia Liu sent Telford on their way to victory against Leeds on Saturday. Heather Metcalf was also on the score sheet in what was a 6-2 victory. The result seals Telford's playoff place in Sheffield at the end of the month, where they join Caledonia Steel Queens from the north. Sarah Rowland scored both goals for the Roses. On Sunday, Sheffield Shadows sealed a 4-0 win away to Kingston Diamonds. Chloe Day and Robin Wilson-Barrett netting 32 seconds apart inside the opening 10 minutes of the game. That set the South Yorkshire side on their way to success. Theodora Georgiadou Male scored twice late on in the game, despite the Shadows outshooting their opponents 71-9. Credit should go to Emily Johnson, who made 66 saves. At the other end, Kirsty Robson claimed a shutout. In Division 2 South, the Phantoms made the long journey to Wales for their third consecutive game on the road. The team anticipated a challenging and physical game, as Cardiff are strong contenders for league champions for a second season in a row. Missing key players and travelling with a fairly short bench, the Phantoms knew they had to enter the game determined to leave it all on the ice. The Phantoms won the first face-off of the game and felt strong against Cardiff. The match continued with intense pressure from both sides, but it was Cardiff who found the back of the net first, after the Comets capitalised on a swift offensive play to put themselves ahead. The Phantoms responded with vigour, attempting to level the score, but faced a disciplined Cardiff defence. Defensive pillars like Joanne Carter-Davis played a pivotal role, clearing the puck effectively and moving it up the ice to create offensive opportunities. Cardiff incurred penalties and provided the Phantoms with power play opportunities. Despite these advantages, the Phantoms were unable to convert, and the period closed with Cardiff leading 1-0. The second period saw the Phantoms intensify their efforts, pushing back against a relentless Cardiff team. Caitlin Barraclough showcased relentless energy, working tirelessly on every shift to challenge Cardiff's possession. At 27:36, Cardiff extended their lead when finding the net. The Phantoms, undeterred, struck back at 31:47 when Cody Dugood, assisted by pocket rocket Hannah Mesarasova, scored after going 5-hole and igniting hope of a comeback. The Phantoms created multiple opportunities, notably one initiated by Amy Neverson, winning a face-off leading to a threatening shot by Jo Saville. However, Cardiff added another goal at 38:21, maintaining the pressure for the Phantoms. Peterborough kept their heads up and were determined to make head coach Ross Dugood proud. Hannah Mesarasova had a narrow miss as she raced the puck up the ice and only narrowly missed a backhand top corner goal. The period ending 3-1 to Cardiff. With the Phantoms trailing, the final period was marked by intense physical and strategic play. Early in the period, Emily Locke showcased her skating endurance, going coast to coast and firing a shot on goal. However, Cardiff continued their offensive dominance into the third period, with goals at 45:39. Liberty Malakovsky battled hard and was instrumental in the defensive zone, taking down players and maintaining control. A brief respite for the Phantoms came at 46:32 when Cardiff received a penalty for interference. The Phantoms set up plays while on the advantage, maintaining possession. Amy Neverson raced the puck down the ice and made a clean back pass to defensive stronghouse Stacey Horn, who took a threatening shot on net. Despite these efforts, the Phantoms were not able to convert their shots into goals. The Comets were back to even strength and were faced by Essie Loffen, who made crucial plays, including a key puck takeaway that halted a dangerous Cardiff breakaway. Despite Sarah Rees' consistent back-checking, Cardiff further extended their lead at 54:32. That completed the scoring and saw the Cardiff Comets win 6-1, as they are still in contention to finish top of the table ahead of Cambridge Kodiaks. The game concluded with a score that did not fully reflect what was played. The Phantoms, despite the tough loss, showcased moments of brilliance and determination. Their resilience was evident as they contested every puck and battled fiercely throughout the match. Phantoms goalie Katie Plum faced a barrage of shots, making several incredible saves that kept the team in contention throughout the match. Player of the game went to Hannah Mesarasova for her consistent hard work and leadership on and off the ice. Caitlin Barraclough received the Spirit of the Game award for the Phantoms. The Phantoms then finished their season this week with a double-header weekend. The team will travel to play their fourth and final away game against Coventry on Saturday before facing their final challenge of the season against the Solent Amazons on home ice. Backed by a noisy group of fans and buoyed by an unbeaten run going back to February, Cambridge Kodiaks face off with Slough Sirens, one of the teams trying to chase them down for a playoff spot. Like the first game between the sides at the start of the season, it was a tense affair. The hosts scored first with Tegan Walsh burying a rebound before Christina Ashley replied almost immediately for Cambridge. Both sides had opportunities to take the lead, but Cheyenne Overgaard and Helen Oates were both standing firm in their respective goals early on. The second period saw Slough up the tempo, outshooting the Kodiaks 14-8, but not converting their chances. They were punished by Ashley, scoring Cambridge's 100th goal of the season off an Alicia Anderson rebound, before Anderson herself went coast to coast for her third of the night, rounding Oates. The Sirens continued to create, but the score stayed at 3-1 until the end of the period. The Kodiaks came flying out of the gate in the third, with Anderson adding to her tally and Ashley securing a hat-trick. In the first minute of the period and within 22 seconds of each other to make it 5-1. Slough caught the Cambridge defence napping to make it 5-2, but Josie Milton then bundled in a power play goal for a sixth. Ashley then rounded off the scoring with her fourth of the night. The 7-2 win confirms the Kodiaks' place in the end-of-season promotion playoffs in Sheffield at the end of the month. Whilst Cambridge can still win the league, this will depend on the results of games between Slough and Cardiff over the next couple of weekends, as the Sirens can still claim a playoff spot should they win their remaining games. Player of the game went to Josie Milton, with Tegan Walsh collecting it for the home side. The Kodiaks will now have a month's rest before the playoffs. Streatham and Coventry met twice at the weekend, with the first game down in South London. Streatham used the home ice to their advantage, and despite Coventry leading after the first period, a difficult start to the second put Streatham out of sight, the Storm winning both games 4-1. Oxford Midnight Stars clinched a 5-2 win away at Chelmsford Pythons. The first period saw equal chances at both ends, with an even amount of opportunities for both sides. The Midnight Stars managed to find the back of the net in the final minute of the period on the power play. Oxford opened the second period with another goal a minute in. Pythons rallied back, with Connie Fiddler burying the puck shortly after to bring back the score to 2-1. The Midnights extended their lead, though, netting another 2 before Fiddler got her second of the period to make it 4-2. Pythons battled hard, but Oxford's relentless pressure saw them net a fifth. Charmaine Coles bagged a hat-trick for Oxford, with Lauren Summers and Nicola Zabinska also scoring. Pythons' player of the game went to Sue Morena, and Katie May Smith claimed the Hero of the Game award. And finally for this week, we look in at how the under-16s are doing. The North Division had a top-of-the-table clash between Whitley Bay and Sheffield on Saturday. The Beacons' only defeat of the season came at Sheffield back in March, but with both sides missing players who were away on international duty in the Evolve Cup, it was the home side who adjusted best. Hannah Sheridan worked wonders in the Shadows' goal in keeping the scoreline down as the Beacons fired 68 shots at her throughout. Isabel Johnson opened the scoring 20 seconds into the second period with a trademark goal, looping the puck into the top corner of the net from distance. The lead lasted less than a minute, though, as a fantastic piece of individual skill from Olivia Bath saw the Shadows back level. But once Captain Heidi Dunn restored her side's lead, there was no stopping the young Beacon side. Further strikes from Rebecca Goldring, Emily Duffy, and a first ever goal for Autumn Lennon made the game safe before Bath netted her second for what was a late consolation. Both sides will be heading to the playoff finals weekend, but the Beacons just need a point in their final game on Saturday against Leeds to clinch top spot and therefore avoid runaway leaders from the south, Chelmsford Rattlesnakes, in the semi-final. So that brings the first week of this podcast to a close. Hope you all enjoyed it. See you all next week.
Free from desire, mind and senses purified. Free from desire, mind and senses